And how are we supposed to know the good guys from the bad guys? Well, we were given a standard by which to judge them. You know, by their fruits, you'll know them. By their fruits. Anybody seen any good fruit lately? No. It's tough.
It's a little like the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that normal stuff that goes on, that we all do with our kids. The bad is when something bad happens, but the infant can overcome it. After all, when you stop the still face, the mother and the baby start to play again. The ugly is when you don't give the child any chance to get back to the good. There's no reparation, and they're stuck in that really ugly situation.
And I actually took it out of your tape piece, and I want to play that. Here's exactly what you said.
I didn't know how to handle the situation, so I broke down.
I didn't know how to handle the situation, so I broke down. Would you like to know why you're having these reactions so bad? So if I took you and put you in the cockpit of a jet airplane, would you know what to do?
No,
Would you know how to get it on the ground?
no,
What would likely happen?
crash.
Damn right. You would crash. Why? Because I don't know how to handle the situation. So nobody in their right mind would take a child and put them in a situation they don't know how to handle. And that's why she has a parent. A parent is supposed to keep kids out of situations they don't know how to handle.
And there is such great significance to the passage of time when we think about a day in the life of our children.
Hello, and welcome to English for Aliens. In this introductory lesson, we'll be learning some simple words to acquaint ourselves with the language. First, tree. Tree. Now, let's try it again. Tree. Nearly. Tree. Very good, very good. Now let's try a new word. Car. No, car. K-A-R. Car. Well, 2 out of 3, not bad. Let's move on. Yes, very good. Yes, very good. Now let's try road. No, road. Good. Never mind. We'll have a look at some of the things we see in the classroom instead. No, I don't think we'll find a tree in the classroom, will we? Oh, well, I think that's actually a little bit advanced for you. That's a picture of the baby Jesus. Baby Jesus! Well, that is good. Some real progress. So, how about window? Window. No. No, please, stop that. No, stop. No, please. No. Jesus Christ. Between mouthfuls, remember to make polite conversation.
Tree!
Oh, yes. Very good. Oh, yes. I've got one of those little Honda Civics. It's a beauty. I used to have a Jag, but the Civic's much easier to park. And it's got car steering and automatic, just like the Jag, and the insurance system.
No, if you are bored by a conversation, just smile politely and say, really? How interesting.
Really? How interesting.
When you decide it's time to go home, you'll have to think of an excuse for why you have to leave early, or your hostess will be offended.
And Roger turned to me and said,
Really? How interesting. Really? How interesting.
Young people are the future, and so I want them to know that they can do and be anything. And I'll just say that I will tell them what an anonymous person said to me once. I was walking through Harvard Yard my freshman year, and I think the first semester I was really homesick. I was really questioning, do I belong here? Can I make it in this environment? And I was walking through the yard in the evening, and a Black woman I did not know was passing me on the sidewalk, and she looked at me, and I guess she knew how I was feeling, and she leaned over as we crossed and said, "Persevere." I would tell them to persevere.
The changes that happen in the brain because of the way it's raised, let's say, what it's exposed to, neuroscientists have been learning that those changes affect not only that individual's brain, but also are transmitted down, or they may be transmitted down to the next generation. So especially those characteristics related to dealing with stress, to coping with stress, anxiety-related, aggressiveness, those characteristics lead to being exposed to harsh environments leads to changes in not in the DNA, not in your genes, but on your the proteins and other chemicals that are attached to your genes, to your DNA, and that change the way that your genes are expressed. So those are called epigenetic changes. And those actually can be passed on to the next generation, which means that if you're exposed to stress and violence in early life, your children one day may be born already predisposed to dealing with a harsh environment as well.
Adult love is modeled on a template of love created in childhood and is likely to be entwined with a range of problematic attractions that militate in key ways against our chances of growth and happiness as adults. We may believe we're seeking happiness in love, but what we're really after is familiarity. We're looking to recreate within our adult relationships the very feelings we knew so well in childhood, and which were rarely limited to just tenderness and care. The love many of us will have tasted early on was confused with other, perhaps more destructive dynamics. Feelings of wanting to help an adult who was out of control, or of being deprived of a parent's warmth, or scared of his or her anger, or of not feeling secure enough to communicate our trickier wishes. How logical then that we should as adults find ourselves rejecting certain candidates, not because they're wrong for us, but because they're a little too right, in the sense of seeming somehow excessively balanced, mature, understanding, and reliable, given that in our hearts such rightness feels foreign and unearned. To choose our partners wisely, we need to tease out how certain compulsions to suffering may be playing themselves out in our feelings of attraction. A useful starting place is to ask ourselves, perhaps in the company of a large sheet of paper, a pen, and a free afternoon, what sort of people in the abstract put us off, and what kinds excite us? To try to trace back qualities to the people who first loved us in childhood, and to ask ourselves how much our impulses really are aligned with things that might make us happy. We could stand to discover, for example, that slightly distant and sadistic people do always seem more interesting to us than the so-called nice ones. That should make us stop and think.
Babies this young are extremely responsive to the emotions and the reactivity and the social interaction that they get from the world around them. This is something that we started studying 30, 40 years ago, when people didn't think that infants could engage in social interaction. In the still face experiment, what the mother did was she sits down and she's playing with her baby, who's about a year of age.
I'm like a girl. Oh.
And she gives a greeting to the baby gives a greeting back to her.
Yeah.
This baby starts pointing at different places in the world, and the mother's trying to engage her and play with her. They're working to coordinate their emotions and their intentions, what they want to do in the world. And that's really what the baby is used to. And then we ask the mother to not respond to the baby. The baby very quickly picks up on this, and then she uses all of her abilities to try and get the mother back. She smiles at the mother. She points because she's used to the mother looking where she points. The baby puts both hands up in front of her and says, "What's happening here?" She makes that screechy sound at the mother, like, come on, why aren't we doing this? Even in this 2 minutes, when they don't get the normal reaction, they react with negative emotions, they turn away, they feel the stress of it, they actually may lose control of their posture because of the stress that they're experiencing.
Okay. I'm here. And what are you doing? Oh, yes. Oh, what a big girl.
It's a little like the good, the bad, and the ugly. The good is that normal stuff that goes on, that we all do with our kids. The bad is when something bad happens, but the infant can overcome it. After all, when you stop the still face, the mother and the baby start to play again. The ugly is when you don't give the child any chance to get back to the good. There's no reparation, and they're stuck in that really ugly situation.
Do you want him to stay little forever?
Yeah, he's so cute.
Because he's so cute and it makes you cry?
And I don't want to die when I'm 100.
You don't want to die when you're 100.
Oh, you are so cute. I love your cute little smiles. Oh my gosh, oh my God, he is little.
So, why do you look like them? I had to blend in. You know how it is. That's what we do.
You are here just in time. Things are getting bad for us.
There's an expression on Earth. I have good news and bad news. The bad news is I crashed, lost my device, and have failed my mission.
Well, what's the good news?
My friends didn't order the octopus.
And, I mean, you know, strangely, I think a lot of people don't like humanity and see it as a blight, but I do not.
Well, I think I think part of that is just they've been struggling. When people struggle, they associate their struggle with other people. They never internalize their problems. They look to other people as holding them back, and people suck and fuck people, and it's just, it's a never-ending cycle. But not always. Again, most people are really good. Most people. Vast majority.
This may sound corny.
It does sound corny,
but love is the answer.
It is the answer.
Yep.
Yeah, it is.
I've always been an outsider. You know, that's why I understand you.
What makes you think I'm an outsider?
You're just different. Sometimes just feeling human is alien to me.
Come, come.